Hey there, welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Coach Pipes coming at you as always, alive, excited, and full of energy. Welcome back to another amazing interview for our Agent Academy Accelerator group. We're really pumped to have you back. You guys have been giving us great feedback, loving the interviews. I'm really excited at the opportunity that I have right now to bring in someone that I mean, gosh, Danny, what has it been? 6 years, 7 years that we've actually known each other. Yep. Met you as a panelist for an event that I was leading at that time. And obviously now Danny his business has evolved. He's become a close friend. And on top of that, one of our incredible coaches for Agent Academy Accelerator. And it's really a pleasure for me to bring him to you because the story is incredible. Right? You know, like the story behind the person is incredible. And what it is that he's built is absolutely phenomenal. And just a short, what has it been? 8 years, bro?
7.5, but yeah, it's coming up on 8 years in the business. Yep.
7.5. So Danny, I know some people call you Dan, some people call you Danny. Is it Danny? Is it Dan? Like what do you prefer, bro?
If you're going to yell at me, call me Daniel. If you're my friend drinking a beer with me, it's Danny.
Danny. Okay, perfect. Then. So dude, tell them a little bit about yourself, background, history, where you sell, etc., so that they can get like general foundational knowledge of who you are, man.
Sure. So I grew up here in the San Francisco Bay Area. I played sports all throughout high school. Love the Bay Area. Though I recently moved out of the Bay Area. I'm a couple hours away here in Sacramento. Bay Area is where I grew my real estate business. I've probably worked in every single restaurant and bar throughout the Bay Area through my 20s. So worked as a waiter and bartender for about 11 years, traveled the world for a couple of years as a backpacker with my now wife, then girlfriend, and came home, started a real estate business and built it in Silicon Valley in Palo Alto, which is one of the most cutthroat, highly skilled, high marketing environments, I think, in the world of real estate.
Yeah.
And took that knowledge and expanded it. And now we're kind of covering most of the counties in the Bay Area.
Brilliant. So just that people know, you last year, it was 92 homes sold, which in the Bay Area is enormous, right? When you have an average sales price of $2 million, $3 million, average agent probably selling 2 or 3 homes, earning 6 figures doing that. 130 transactions pace for this year at about 180,000. And you're doing that with 17, 18 agents, right?
Yeah, we've scaled very quickly. So those numbers don't break down to a really great, per agent household. But we started 18 months ago with 3 agents. And now today we're at 18 and we've grown quite organically. Yes, we're on pace for about 180 million. As the market, is shifting, I think we're going to actually sell more. So I'm hoping that with the challenges, our skills will start to kind of rise to the top and we'll be able to sell more units. And especially with the agent growth, I think we can, start to see that hockey stick up. So that's what we're hoping for.
So tell us a little bit, and I love what you said, man. Like the market is shifting. You guys are like, we're actually going to sell more. There's a lot of agents that are out there. They're like, oh my gosh, man, market shifted. My business is going to go backwards, but you fully expect that it's going to go forward. I want to get in some tactical, but let's go right now, just that perception. Why do you have that perception? Why do you have that belief? Why do you know that your team is going to actually do better in this more normalized market than it is in the frothy, crazy, what we were coming out of for 2020, 2021?
As I told you, I'm ultimately transparent. I'm a winner. I'm like, I just want to win. So I'm very competitive. And when I see like opportunity and I see fear, it gets me excited. Like I have fear within myself and I see fear in others right now. And that gets me excited. Even though my drunk monkeys are always jumping on top of me saying, oh my God, we're redlining it. That gets me excited. And honestly, it makes me want to double down on my business, my activities, our script sessions. I mean, my team's truly every single morning, 8 to 8:30, without doubt. We're in script rooms together. I'm in that script room. My leaders are in that script room, and we're practicing what the conversations will look like that day with what's going on with that data. and how we're going to help more people. I mean, that's what's happening right now.
Do you know what's interesting? I just talked to Kyle Whistle, one of our buddies, you know, Kyle, right? Down in San Diego, great California, like one of the top, the number one, 7 out of the last 8 years. And it's amazing to me because they role play every single day. I talk, you know, like if I go through all these interviews, there's like, I want everyone to just pay attention. If you're watching concurrently from one to the next, that success leaves clues. And if you see one person doing it, pay attention. You see 2 people doing it, really pay attention. You see 3 people who are producing what you want, then you need to actually adopt it. And so this is, you know, like, guys, gals, pay attention to the fact that great individuals look for opportunity to be able to actually role play both for themselves and their team. I love that, man. And you know what? I would go so far as to say, like, based upon how I know that you built your business, you guys are a skill and discipline and gritty, like SOB group of freaking badass agents. So this is like playing to your advantage. Let's talk a little bit about from bartender, right? To which we got to have a conversation sometime about like, what are the best places to go in San Francisco, right? Because it's one of my favorite cities, even though it's sad to see what's happened to it with all the craziness, right? So how did you go from bartender hiker to all of a sudden, hey, I'm going to get into real estate? I want to hear about those first couple of formative years and how it went.
Yeah. So, I mean, I really give a lot of credit to my restaurant time for my success in real estate. And, just being in front of people, having to talk to people over and over again, every single day and serve them at a high level. You know, I worked at some Michelin Star restaurants. I worked at some super divey bars. I worked in Australia at a very high-end restaurant when I was backpacking. So I've traveled the world and I've traveled the country serving people. And I know it was serving food, but at the same time, I took that, like, my great grandmother said, take pride in everything you do with your work. And, I still see her right now looking at me saying, take pride every single day that you wake up and go to work. So I always looked at the credit card tips and made sure I was the highest percentage tipped waiter at every place I went. So I was always measuring myself against my other waiters. And if I ever dropped beneath like 22% in tips, I would be furious. And I knew if I stayed above 22%, I'd always be in first place. So almost at every restaurant I went to, I started asking the restaurant managers to start tracking the tips and putting it back in the back of the restaurant so we could all see our tips.
How about a dashboard? You had a dashboard, bro.
I had a dashboard, and I would always be furiously competitive on my tips, which meant that I had to serve my clients better. Right. I had to make sure their water was always filled up. I had to make sure that I was always offering more appetizers for them so I could up my bill sales volume.
Yeah.
And so anyways, a lot of it was super transferable. But anyways, my wife and I got really tired of that environment. My wife ended up teaching English in Thailand. I chased her out there. That's literally how we ended up like staying together. I moved to Thailand for her. And then after that, we backpacked the world for about a year and a half. We trekked the Himalayas and Annapurna circuit trek. And that experience transformed my life when I saw how much I could give back to the world. While I was backpacking, I had such little money. Really, we were so broke, but to others, we were so fortunate and so wealthy. Everywhere we went, we traveled through a lot of third world countries. When I moved back home, I looked in the mirror and I was like, man, you are a POS for not taking advantage of the opportunities you have here in America. And my dad said, dude, you got to get into real estate. He's like, just go try it. He was like, please go get your license. This is what he said verbatim. And I've been on other podcasts and said this. He said, go to 10 open houses and tell me you can't beat them. And so I went to 10 open houses. I was unlicensed. I was bartender. And I was like, wow, 9 out of 10 of these people I'll slay. One was amazing. This gal out of Marin County, I forget her name. She was with Coldwell Banker, but she was so friendly, so observant. She was so interactive with me. I just fell in love with her. And I was like, that's going to be me. And so a year later, I was licensed, still Uber driving, Lyft driving, bartending in my first year. And the rest was history.
Wow. So I have a question for you, completely off topic. Is your family super competitive? Or is it just something that you have developed over the years? Because I'm listening to all these stories. Like, I wanted to be the number one in terms of tips, right? I'm go out, look at 10. Can I beat them? Yes. I mean, is that something that was developed in you, or is that something that was just always there?
Looking back at it, just when you asked me that, I think my dad is uber competitive, even though he doesn't come off across that. And my mom is just super aggressive. My mom is just like, you don't mess with that Italian. So I think I got a lot from that. But then as I grew up, I wasn't the best at basketball in high school. I wasn't the biggest and I wasn't the strongest, but I just gave so much effort and I just cared about winning. Like last night we did adult softball game and I'm not that good. I'm not the best on the adult softball league, but I think I'm like the most competitive. And so when I left there, I asked this guy who I just joined this team. I'm fairly new to the team. I said, hey, am I too competitive for this? Like, do I need to temper this down? He's like, dude, he's like, I love it. He was like, that's what we need. He's like, keep bringing that competitiveness. So I don't know where it came from. But I hate to lose anything ever. So
Good. We need more people like that. I'm just saying, you know what I mean? So first couple of years of real estate, how was it?
Really tough. Really tough. My first year I did $10,000 in GCI. That was when I was lifting, Uber, driving, bartending, waiting tables. So during the day I was doing real estate, during the night I was working. Second year was better. I finally got to quit those jobs and I ended up making, I think, 180 in GCI.
Wow.
That second year as a single agent. Third year, I tried to expand. I think I made 500 in GCI, and I tried to start bringing in people, almost went bankrupt, trying to get admin on salary and things of that nature. And my fourth year was really good, but my health declined heavily. I ended up, this is a true story, I ended up getting an EKG on my heart at age 34. Because I was just overwhelmed with stress. I was really letting real estate beat me up and working a lot with which I hear all the time now when I'm coaching clients and my team. And, my health deteriorated really fast. And I found myself having basically a panic attack. And I thought it was a heart attack. And so I went to the hospital and the doctor said, hey, dude, do you have a stressful job? And I literally, my mom and my wife, we all laughed. I said, you could say that. And he said, yeah, you just had a anxiety or panic attack. And and it felt like my whole chest was collapsing. I mean, it was really brutal and scary.
Scary. Must have been scary, man.
So scary. I was crying. And I just said, not again. Like, never again am I going to allow my work to get in front of what's most important, which is my life with my family and all of that. And I changed everything since then. I dropped 20 pounds and got super healthy, cut back on the drinks, and really focused on my mind and like centering myself in my mornings. And that's when I started my hardcore routine, which I'm still in to this day.
So tell us a little bit, because I've always said you can look at a person and you can sort of predict what their routines and rituals are that they actually have in their life.
Yeah.
And, like you and I having conversations and talking, just prior to this about the importance of like, hey, if you get up at 5 o'clock, you get 2 more hours over the course of a month is 60 more hours over the course of a year. Holy cow, you could add 5, 6, 7, 8 days of full days to do whatever you want to with. So from that breakdown came the breakthrough of you saying, I'm going to do this differently. Tell us about the schedule that got created in the morning to be able to actually launch you or center you or whatever it is that it does.
Well, I'll start by saying what you said, follow the breadcrumbs, right? So I just ripped off and duplicated everything that I read about morning routines, which started with the Miracle Morning, which I know has changed many, many people's lives.
Huge. If you haven't listened to Hal Elrod or read his book, you're missing out. And get the original. Like the real estate one is cool, but the original one is absolutely badass, transformative, will change your life.
I would say get the original. I actually like that a lot better than the real estate one.
Me too.
But so right now my schedule, I'd say 80% of the year I'll be waking up about 4 a.m., sometimes earlier.
That's AM, not PM. So there is an AM.
And from there, it's depending on what my day looks like, that schedule from 4 to 7 will look different. But mainly it consists of meditation, exercise, journaling, affirmations. One of the cool things that I do now when I shower to make, because there's something called habit stacking, which I'm sure you've been aware of. Totally. You stack a habit. I was lacking in writing out my goals every day. And I realized that every day, what do you have to do in the morning? Pipes.
Take a shower.
You got to take a shower.
Yeah, totally.
So
We hope that everyone's doing that every day, right?
So I just write my goals out on my shower door now every day.
Oh, with the on the condensation.
On the condensation, because that's all you need. You just need the connection. That you just need to see what you just, it's the little course correction, right?
I love that. That's amazing.
So I said, what do I do every day? I shower. So that's where I'm gonna write my goals down. So you go look at my shower right now. My cleaners clean it every 2 weeks. And so it starts over, but every day, you see the repetitiveness of it.
That's awesome.
And anyway, so you write your goals down. And I think that might be the most important thing that you do, but I think exercise is critical to get the mind right. And then, once I've basically completed my morning, I'm coming out there like a flamethrower, and everyone else is just waking up.
That's right. You're already ahead. It's like starting the race with a running start versus at a static start, man. I
don't know how you do it. I don't know how you do this business without doing what I do. I'm dead serious. Yeah. I think if you want to be a millionaire, you got to act like one. And this is what they do. And I'm just copying them.
I have yet to meet a millionaire that got to where they are sleeping in, period.
And how many agents want to be millionaire?
Freaking, I think everyone does. They're just afraid and they have all these concerns and whatever.
Like everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die.
That's right. Yeah. So it's got to be the sacrifice. I mean, Mike Ferry told me that a long time ago. He said, listen, you can say what you want. You can say why you want it, but you have to identify what sacrifice you're willing to make. But it really doesn't become a sacrifice. It becomes a habit for you. And then all of a sudden I guarantee you, bro, better agent, better leader, better father, better husband, because of that 1.5 to 2 hours or 2.5 hours in the morning, man.
Yeah.
Awesome. I love it. You got this interesting situation that's going on that we're talking about, which from a recruiting standpoint, right? I mean, here you are, you've gone from 3 to 18 agents over the course of how many months?
About 18 months.
18 months. Okay. You must have this huge recruiting platform and a bunch of calls that you're making outgoing, and it's got to be enormous. Like, what is it?
Really, really embarrassed to say, especially because right across the bay is my boy Kenny Fast, who's the freaking recruiting machine of the decade, right. Or maybe century. We do zero recruiting, and we're changing that as we speak. As we speak, I'm putting in measures to start recruiting, because I hear all of the greats above me and all my coaches above me saying recruiting. Yeah. I am changing that. So I want to preface this that don't be like me.
But dude, you've got something magical going on. I really teed that up tongue in cheek, because you've done something incredible here where you're not making outbound calls. You're not doing that there's like almost a line of people that want to become part of your team. Yeah. Why? What have you done? How did you create?
Like I told you before we were recording, I'm just brutally honest and very transparent. And I'm very much what I consider myself, to the most part, on social media. So on Instagram, I have a lot of agents that follow me, a lot of local agents that follow me. Eventually, when the pain gets great enough in their life from what they're doing without me, they usually reach out to me. And they usually reach out to me for advice or something like that. And then one of the things that we've learned within my EXP group is to invite people to everything. And so I just invite people to things. I invite people to my script and role play. I invite people to team meetings, to all of our educational things, whether that's via Zoom or in person. I just invite. And when I find that the cultures and the paths kind of make sense, we're on the right kind of planes, trajectories together, I invite them to join the team. And then we do a really intense goal setting thing together, where just me and that agent sit down and we say, hey, where do you want to be in 12 months? And can I hold you accountable to that?
Nice. So basically they're getting a sense of who you are. You're providing training for them for free online and through the invites that they're probably not getting, which they're paying for to their existing broker or their existing team.
The other big thing, which we're going to do with our coaching group, it's success, right? When other agents see porch light agents be uber successful in their first couple years of business, right? My top agent almost made 500,000 in GCI last year.
Wow.
And he's going to make 700 this year.
That's amazing.
When they see that, They want to be a part of that. And so that's another big part of it, is if we weren't successful, if my agents were failing, we wouldn't have had this type of growth. And so I think everyone just sees other success and like, what are they doing? I want to do that. And everybody just starts copying. And it's this big snowball effect of this prospecting based, leads enhanced type of a business.
I love it. You said something when we were talking, like, what I'm really proud of is, and you said, I have yet to have any agent that's been on my team ever fail the business.
Yeah.
Okay. That is enormous. You said that you've had, one person that you let go of, one person that moved geographically, and another person that I forget what it was, but
it wasn't a good fit for the team.
Just wasn't a good fit for the team. Right. So, but nobody has, they not only just not failed, you got people that are going to earn 700,000. For our leaders out there, I'm going to ask this question, and I want our leaders to listen one way, and I want anyone that is an individual agent to listen another. What do you do as a leader that creates this level of success and this optimization where people don't fail? And what would you, so from a leadership standpoint, answer that? And then from the other side, what would you tell agents that are like, hey, Dan, I'm doing like 7 deals, 10 deals, 12 deals. I want to go to 20, 30, 40. Okay. So let's start with the leadership piece.
Well, let's preface this once again, from the coaching perspective, which it probably isn't a good thing that I haven't had any agents fail out. It probably means I haven't recruited enough, right? I mean, for me, in the back of my mind, I know for a fact, if I would have recruited 100 agents in the past year, a couple would have failed.
Yeah.
Right. So let's start with that humbly. And then once again, the other thing is I'm just brutally honest with people when they join my team, right? I think what a lot of old brokerages do incorrectly is they paint this pictures of rainbows and butterflies, and my blue company, my black company, my red company is the best company, and you'll always be successful here. And it's so easy. And, I think that's something that the big box companies do that I just will not subscribe to. I will not allow an agent to come into my team and think that this is going to be easy. It's just not. It's never going to be easy. Will it be worth it? 100%. Is it going to be easy? Absolutely not. And this is why. And so if we're just brutally honest with people up front, hey, look, dude, I'm not giving you any leads if you don't hit at least 80 contacts a week. I'm not giving
you. Is that a standard that you guys have?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
I'm not going to give you any one-on-one coaching unless you're at one closing in X amount of time. Right. And as they mature and as they hit those lead measures, like I know a new agent isn't going to have the lag measures that a tenured agent will, but I know they'll have the lead measures, and anyone who has the lead measures, we just pour into.
Brilliant.
Pour into.
If you see the effort, you see the energy going into it, then you guys reciprocate it.
We have a brand new agent who's psycho. She is crazy with activities. Shout out Kayla. I hope you hear this. She is just so inspiring to me and to the rest of the agents. I'm like, hey, open the door for this girl. Like, I'm giving her one-on-one coaching, which I just don't do for most new agents because they haven't deserved it yet. I'm giving her everything because I just see the potential in her. And anyways, I think the transparency up front is huge, right? Set the expectation. And then I think our culture, we're big lovers. Like, I love every one of my agents. Truly, we've cried together, we've partied together. I'm taking my virtual assistant to Thailand, right? Like, we're a family, and I think they feel that. And so I think they feel that I actually, unfortunately, probably want them to hit their goals more than they do often.
Yeah.
And so, that's the overarching themes of why I think we've been successful in retention.
Do what's amazing is I think a lot of people have collapsed, a lot of leaders, that loving on your team is exclusive of having standards and holding them at high levels of accountability. That people will resist that. But what I'm hearing from you is, hey, I love these guys. And I also have set up an environment where they have to pay to play, in terms of meaning they have to earn the right for some of these functions that we have for support, right? Yeah. Whether it's the leads, the accountability, the one-on-ones, et cetera, right?
Yeah.
So,
and these are models that I've taken from the producers who have sold 500,000 homes, right? These are the same models, right, that we've just put into our market and tweaked a little bit to make it right for ourselves.
So do you put the success out? Do you do social proof out of like this person is crushing it and this person is doing it in addition to all of your content that you're doing that's agent support? I call B2B marketing as an
Yeah, we
agent.
should do more. 100%. We should be doing more, and my team as a whole needs to be doing more as individual agents for getting their own stories out, and creating their own bigger businesses within the Porchlight, umbrella. But yes, we're sharing stories. One of my best reels that we shot a couple months ago was with our brand new agent who had gotten 9 deals into contract. She is
In the Bay Area,
she
9
is
deals.
she is Chinese. She was born in China. Her English is pretty choppy, but she powered through it. And it's not like all her clients are Chinese.
Yeah.
And she went on to sell 9 homes. I think she has 4 listings right now. She hasn't been in the business for a year.
That's amazing.
And
Why would someone not want to be part of your team? You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
when they start hearing this,
yeah.
right? Because agents talk, right? Like your first year, you did 9 deals. You what? Right? So
My biggest fear, and which I'm sure is once again the drunk money, is that we're going to get so big that I won't be able to love everyone and pour into everyone as much as I can. So we're trying as best as I can to develop more leaders underneath us. And I just know that, when we get to 100 agents, or if and when we get to 100 agents, I just really truly, like, in my heart, hope that we are as passionate for getting these agents to where they need to be. So that's what's inside of me.
That ultimately comes down to the ability for you to be able. Good leaders lead people. Great leaders create other amazing leaders, right? And so that is like the evolutionary path that you're on right now, which is really exciting. It's going to be fun to watch as that unfolds.
Yeah.
Let's go tactical business dev, right? You started your business off. You partnered with somebody, you got up to about 76 million in terms of production, shut that down, came at it again. Just this team is, what is it? It's 2 years old.
Year and a half old. Yeah.
Year and a half old. And you guys are going to do 180 million in terms of volume. Bananas, man. Like absolutely incredible. So talk to me about how you guys crush open houses, because obviously the market is shifting and changing. We now have opportunity to sit opens, to run them effectively, right? And I think like open houses can be a complete and total waste of time if you don't do them appropriately, or they can be a walk-off triple in the bottom of the 9th that wins the game. So tell us what your guys' process and strategy is, because you've been really successful with these in the past.
Yeah. So I started my business with open houses, and I learned over time how to kind of perfect them. And most of my team members don't follow this to the T, which they should. So it all starts with finding the right open house. So if you don't have listings, like, where do I get an open house? Right. So finding the right open house is probably 80% of the work. So making sure that you find a house that's been on the market for less than 2 weeks, that's priced correctly, that's priced in the median sale price, right? Because we don't want too low, because then you're going to be servicing, in my market, 500K buyers. You don't want too high, because there's only going to be 2 buyers that walk in there, and they're probably already represented at the $5 million mark. So for us, our average price points, somewhere between $1 million and 1.5. So right in that range, in a good
sweet spot, right?
In a good location, in good schools, hopefully geographically close to where you live. You hunt for those, right, every day. So if you wanted to make open houses your pillar, I love how you're taking notes. If you want to make open houses your pillar, you start on Monday and you prospect for open houses. That's the first prospecting you do. You don't do anything else. You prospect until you find an open house. And if it's not a great open house that you find, you keep prospecting. And then you call that agent back that you couldn't get, the shittier of the two, excuse my language. You call that agent back and say, look, I have a great agent who can host your open house. Something came up. Do you mind if they host it for you? And you hand that off to somebody else. You throw them a bone. So you find a great open house. That's the very first thing that we do. You ask the listing agent their permission on how you can prospect that listing, because the last thing you want to do is basically, pee on another listing agent's fire hydrant, right? You don't want to do. So you want to ask them, hey, would you mind if I did some extra exposure door knocking for you?
Cool.
And that's how you verbalize it. right? And then, so we want to be able to
say that again. It's, would you mind if we provided some extra exposure?
So we always say like that. We want to help you get your listing sold.
Brilliant. Which in the past, agents were like, well, why do we need it? The house is sold in 2 days. Now they're probably jumping at the opportunity for this.
So, would you mind if we do this? And we always ask for permission, because what ends up happening, or at least what happened for me back when I was doing this, was those agents, when they needed an open house host, would always call me. Like 100% of the time. I had this Rolodex of agents that were just calling me. Hey, Dan, do you want to host my open this weekend? It was just because I was the easy one, and I was the one who they knew was going to show up prepared, professional, and help them sell that home.
Yeah.
So anyways, so we want to circle prospect. So Thursday and Friday, your calls should include circle prospecting that home. And
do you door knock, circle call? Like, does it really matter?
We should be doing both. So we should be hitting the 500 closest homes on circle dialing, which on a Mojo dialer should take you maybe 5 hours, right? Maybe 5 tops to get through all of those numbers. And we just want to call them and invite them to the open house. And oh, by the way, what are your plans this year for real estate? Right? So that's a very simple script. So we do that. Your contacts are already through the roof for the week. You've already invited people to the open house. Then we go to the open house. We make sure that we put all the right signage up. So I want 10 to 15 open house signs minimum. Now that we just ordered 200 more open house signs, we can do that for all 18 of our agents. We want to put up 10 to 15 open house signs, because how many do agents usually put up?
They put up 2 or 3.
2 or 3. So you want to be 10x that. You name dropped Andy C, who's a rock star open house host as well. One of the things he does is puts out like 20 open house signs. So the more the merrier. If you're doing open houses every weekend and your name's on the block every single week, just snowball.
Whether they go to the open house or not, they start seeing that's branded signs. Let's be very clear on that.
Burgess,
branded signs,
Yeah.
Danny Burgess, they just see this Danny Burgess guy. He's freaking everywhere.
Everywhere. Yeah. So I think that's a pretty clever strategy, branding strategy. It's free basically once you buy the signs, right? You just stick them everywhere. My dad always used to say, hey, Dan, just put them down El Camino in the peninsula every single weekend, just going all the way down. And I was like, even though I don't have an open house, he's like, just put them up there. Anyways, then we want to door knock. So I always suggest door knocking about 40 doors, because it takes about an hour and a half to do that. So you show up at 11:30, door knocking for an hour and a half, make sure your sign's already out. Don't put the signs in front of the yard yet. You put up kind of the exterior signs, and then you put in the interior signs so people aren't showing up earlier. And then we want to present the house super well and make sure that you look like the professional listing agent. And why do we do that? Neighbors are walking in, looking at the house and looking at the way that you present it. So I always like having snacks and stuff. And now we've moved to QR code sign-ins, which I think are such
a godsend, man. Instead of like having the iPad or the 1980s.
That was me. And it was like, I had to like read everything and like, but now with the QR code, that's the ultimate hack, right? Yeah. Hey, scan this for the flyer. So we don't have any accessible flyers.
Hold on. So smart right there.
Yeah.
That is brilliant.
Yeah.
Flyer on the property, scan this, captures their info, done.
And then here's the 2 biggest hacks we have, guys. And these are the 2 biggest ones. And one I created and one Mark Pattison created. I used to bring, or if I were to do an open house today, I'd still bring 3 data sheets. So I want to bring sale to list price ratio and days on market. I want to bring sales price over time, and I want to bring months of inventory charts. And I only bring 3, so no one can take them with them. And I put that right next to me on the table I'm sitting at. It's my bait.
Yep.
And then I have every listing within the price point that they're looking. So let's say the house is listed at 1.25. I bring everything from $1 million to 1.5 in that city, active pending sold. And then in the 2 cities that are next to it, acting pending sold, single family residence, right? So now I have 3 sheets of all the inventory and the data right next to it. So when they walk by, number one, I'm the rock star, right? I'm the smart guy, right? I have all this stuff. And then I say, hey, when you guys are done, circle back. I want to talk to you about this data. It's really important. 9 times out of 10, they're coming back, right? If that message is delivered appropriately. Then this is the real hook, which Mark Pattison gave to me. You have a binder which says, do not remove in red off-market properties in a binder right next to that, which they see. And then you don't even say anything about that, but it's in red and it's in a binder and no one can touch it. Right. And they're like, oh, what's that? Right. Then you say, well, you know, are you guys committed to a realtor right now? Have you signed a buyer broker agreement? And then you just say, hey, these are exclusive to my clients. Right. And so
is there something in the book, or is it?
Yeah. No, there's something in the book. Oh yeah. So you pull all the expireds, all the FSBOs, any off markets, any coming to soons, anything like that, you put in the binder. And
anything that you have on your team or also in the marketplace,
anything that you can find in the market within that market space, you put it in that binder. I think that's just so genius.
It's so brilliant, dude, because people are like, what's that? Right.
So here's the.
Does that really work? Have you had that? Have people like go, what is that, man?
No, it's insane. No, it's like, so here's the analogy I use. When you're a waiter, you walk up to the table and you say, how is everything? Can I get you some water? Can I get you some more iced tea? What is that?
It's an upswing. It sounds uncertain.
Every waiter ever, you guys are now never going to be able to unhear this. Yeah. When you go to a bartender, what does the bartender say to you?
What drink do you want?
What can I get you?
What can I get you? Yeah, they don't upswing. It's not like
what do you want?
It's an assumptive, like you're up at the bar. We're gonna get you something.
Oh, you're not ready? Okay, I'll come back.
Yeah.
So you go from a waiter to a bartender, and that's how I always discuss upswings and downswings.
That's awesome, man. That's brilliant.
In the restaurant industry, you'll hear.
I will give you full credit, but I am ripping that off. That is really
totally. Good, hey, how's everything going? Can I get you some more iced tea? Can I get you some appetizers? Right, bartender.
I was just at took my daughter for a daughter daddy date, and we went to Capitol Grill, and it just opened up here in Salt Lake City, which was a big deal. And the waiter came up and was like super in command. You know what I mean? Like he was approachable and everything, but he's like, oh, you want this, you don't want that, you want that, you want to do this. And I was just like, and it made me recognize everybody, even like I'm a very high D personality style with a trailing I, but I want to be in control. Like I will choose, if I don't like the table at the restaurant, I'm like, no, I want to sit over there. Like it drives my kids crazy. Like it doesn't matter if we walk in the dining room right now because dad's just going to pick another table that they want to sit at. So, but this guy came in and like in a very elegant manner controlled me. And it made me recognize, wow, even the most driven SOBs want to have someone take the lead in situations.
And that's how I was when I ended my restaurant business, career. I was the waiter that said, I was also working at nicer places, so people had money to spend. I said, hey guys, you have to try these oysters today. They're unbelievable. How many do you want? 12 or 24?
Yeah. There it is right there. It's alternative choice clothes. I mean, that was
and they'd be like, we want 24. I'd be like, great. Right. And they're $4 a piece. So your bill went up, $100.
And by the way, you don't necessarily, I mean, if you're going to have these oysters, you want to make sure you have champagne, and the champagne, it's brilliant. It's the same exact thing, right? It's the same exact thing. Okay. Let me see if I missed anything. I'm telling you, that open house strategy was worth the price of admission.
Well, let's pause. Let me finish because I want to make sure that we get this right. Just in case there are agents that are going to implement this. No matter what we do, we have to stay at the open house until we do all of the follow-up. So you get all the leads that don't leave the open house. The biggest mistake you can make is leave the open house, because when we leave the open house, we're going to get beer. We're going to meet our friends. We're going to meet our wife, our children, are going to dinner, everything. And then all of a sudden it's the next day. And then all of a sudden we're falling Monday. Monday's too late. They're not going to remember you Monday. They might remember you that day, maybe, right? Yeah. You're not the only open house they went to.
Key point.
Following up that day is critical. It's the swallow the frog theory, right? We just have to do it that day because we're still in work mode.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you how many people have just wasted their weekends away collecting a bunch of leads and then never following up with them. Totally. So you got,
because the probability of someone executing right then and there is very low. I mean, honestly,
and shoot a video, text video them so they see your face.
Do you use any type of technology that drips on them post open house at that point, or are you relying mainly on the phone call, text, or?
So not at the open house. Of course, they go into our follow-up, boss. Once, but that moment, you just gotta use your cell phone, and you just gotta, hey, This is Danny. You met me at 123 Main Street. Super pumped to meet you and your daughter. You guys were beautiful. Want to let you know a couple additional things and talk to you about those off-market properties.
Brilliant.
When's a good time for us to chat? Whatever it is, something
There's
like
the
that.
script, guys. That is the script. Hey, couple things I forgot to tell you about this house that I want to tell you. Like that, I love that line. That is
and you sprinkle in whatever you need to, and leave it open-ended. But that video is going to be super powerful, and you'll convert, 50 to 75% more leads that way. Isn't
it exciting for you? Now I know why you're like, the market is changing. Yes. Because these techniques that honestly, DB, we didn't have to use. We didn't get the chance to use even because homes were selling within 24 to 48 hours for you guys. That really generates more buyers, generates more seller leads, right? Creates exposure for your name, your brand, your team, et cetera. In some cases actually sells the house for the, for the client as well too, are invaluable. Hey guys, for all of our leaders, imagine having your army of agents doing this over and over and over again. And for all of our solo agents, right, that are out there on your own, like this is the game. Like, is it 2 open houses to like a legitimate deal? Is it 3 open houses? Do you know like numbers on that?
You should be getting one. Absolutely. If you do this, you should be getting one qualified buyer or seller from every single open house you do. Every one you do, you should be getting at least one qualified buyer or seller,
which are bottom of the funnel. Those are bottom of the funnel leads, right? Those are both.
And one of the things that, hate to beat the dead horse, but one of the things that I remember vividly, I used to go into my open houses saying, I'm going to get a listing, not I'm going to get a buyer, because I knew the buyers were coming, but I was affirming I was going to get a listing.
Yes.
And I swear every time I did that, I found sellers, right? I was like, I was open. The universe was open to me finding sellers at an open house rather than buyers.
Your reticular activating system was like, beep, 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 beep,
I was like, sellers, because I knew the buyers were there. I knew I could convert buyers. I was already there with the buyers.
Yep.
Like, how am I going to get a listing out of this open house?
So, brother, we're going to wind down because this is packed. Like this last 15 minutes, the whole thing's been great. The last 15-minute section, people can go to the bank on that shit right there, man. Okay. So, book that you would recommend everybody get. I see all the stuff that you have there in the back. What's the number one thing that you say right now, got to read?
As a new agent, go read Miracle Morning. Go read, even as a tenured agent, go read Miracle Morning. Cause that'll change your life. Even if you leave real estate, that'll just change your world. If you're a business owner, Profit First. If you don't know Profit First and you haven't read that, don't lose 500 grand like I did. Go read the book, and change the way that you view money and profitability.
Love it, man. Awesome. Do you know who the author is of Profit First?
It's in my office. No, I don't.
Tammy, that's okay. Profit First. I'm sure it's right. Like,
Tammy Pack. My girl.
I'm actually like embarrassed to say I haven't read it. Right. Oh, so like I wrote it down.
You're never gonna recommend another profitability book other than that. And then, Daniel Beer, shout out to him as well. He put me on What the Heck is EOS, which Kyle and him run. So I've been kind of obsessive over that, and we're still building out that system, but that's a good book too for business owners.
Awesome. DB, man, I gotta tell you, amazing interview. It's been 5 years since we had the chance to do this, and it was in front of 500-600 people. We're going to repeat that. And here's why. I need you to be able, I'm like saying it now, at Sales Mastery, to be able to actually share this open house strategy, man. So,
absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right, dude. Thank you. I appreciate you. If they want to get a hold of you, Instagram, wherever, is it just your name, Danny Burgess?
No. So I go by The Giving Agents. So my Instagram handle is The Giving Agents. I run a mastermind as well on Facebook called The Giving Agents. We have 29,000 agents on that platform.
Wow.
The Giving Agents Network and Mastermind. My Instagram is The Giving Agents. And the reason it's plural is because I want us all to give back to our industry because it's desperately in need of that.
Well, brother, thank you for being on this. I'm proud to call you a partner in our businesses, right? And excited to see where you are in a year, 2 years, 3 years, and also just the impact that you make as a coach for this organization. Super grateful for you. Thank you, brother. Okay. And keep crushing, man. Keep crushing. All right. Cheers.